evening when the sun goes down, get with my party and I begin to clown. I don't care what the people are thinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just a drinking. I set 'em up, another round. I'll set 'em up, another round. I'll set 'em up, another round. One more round won't get me down.
Previously on F-Bomb History.
Now, kids, this is known as a false flag operation. That's when your own country does stupid shit to get you in a war. Thank God America's never done this before.
Ever. Okay, so the Soviets invade.
Drink, truly drink.
You need a drink? Hang on.
Drink, truly drink.
Did somebody say they need a drink?
Yes! I
Well,
was saying it in Danish.
That's not what he was saying.
Oh.
well, if it is Danish, have I got a treat for you? This is a special Scandinavian drink.
Odin's dick juice.
Dick juice.
That just happened.
Find it in a store near you.
The dick juice thing just happened. I don't.
Stop!
Okay.
Wow,
I was gonna
okay.
keep going. I mean,
I can only have so much Viking penis in one day.
that's what she said.
That's what the English used to
Are
say.
we good now?
Okay.
Are we good?
Talk about dicks.
Okay, so the Soviets invade, right? About November 30th, it's called, right? And they bombed the ever-loving dog shit out of Helsinki.
Yeah. They did the whole blitzkrieg thing where you go to the rear echelon, boom, 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 we're gonna blow up Helsinki.
Well, they had this special freaking bomb. It's, oh my god, you can't even freaking make this shit up.
Nope.
Can't make it up.
Nope.
It was called an RRAB-3 cluster bomb.
Rob! 3.
It looked like this.
It looked like a dick.
It looked like a big
In other words, if you were a middle schooler and you drew the bomb,
If you drew the bomb,
yeah.
gonna look like that.
You don't believe me, go to Wikipedia and Google RRAB3.
Because our director is fixing to put a picture up right here.
Right here, dick bomb.
Right. And this thing,
What did the dick bomb do?
it was a cluster bomb. Holy shit. The dick bomb spit out all kinds of freaking...
Let me have the penis.
You got the penis.
What?
That's what she
Well,
said.
I had a nickel every time I said that.
You can have the dick. Anyway, the dick bomb spit out all these freaking incendiary bombs. Right? Yeah, like that. Motherfucker, seriously. God damn it. And I can't. How can you? Nobody can work under these conditions.
Where's my
Hey,
thing,
tell
man?
it to the porn stars.
Oh, what? Tell me about the dick bomb.
So the dick bomb spit out incendiary bombs.
The little
as-
fins made it spit.
So the ball sack spun around, and as the ball sack spun around, it shot incendiary bombs out, right? And when it hit the ground, it was a big 250-pound bomb. Booyah! There was like this huge orgasmic explosion when it hit the fucking ground, right? That's what happened. And in doing this, they destroyed
A shitload of civilians.
a bunch of civilians that got fucked up.
Yeah, we're making a joke of it, but a bunch of fucking innocent
A
people
bunch of
died.
civilian and innocent people died. And they fucked up the whole freaking Finnish Air Force, which was really tiny.
Yeah.
And they fucked up a lot of the armor. And the other thing that they did, but what the Soviets didn't think about was there was a Red Guard side of the Finnish population. There was a White Guard side of the Finnish population. If you were a Red Guard, you were communist. If you were a White Guard, you were not communist. But what it did, it was the way the Soviets freaking did that because they bombed Helsinki. It was the Finnish version of 9/11 in 1939. And
Everybody
it brought
unified.
everybody together and it united them and said, you know what, Soviet Union, fuck you.
There was just no division between the Reds and the Whites
At all.
anymore.
Period.
They're all together?
Pulled them all together. Pulled the whole country together. And the last thing you really want to do is piss off the Finns in one direction.
Yep. Now, the main thing in between the Soviet Union and Finland was the Karelian Isthmus.
I got dig juice on my glasses.
Well, man, a nickel every time you heard that.
I know, right?
Alright. Now, Karelian Isthmus, what it was is they had this line and they called it the Mannerheim line. Now, the actual Mannerheim line, the Soviets, because they kind of lost this war, they tried to make it seem like the Mannerheim line was this massive concrete fortifications. But in reality, it was just a trench dug in the ground with like a backhoe.
What was a fucking hole in the ground?
But there was maybe a concrete bunker every, like 1,000 yards. That's it. So every kilometer, one concrete bunker. The rest was just a bunch of a hole in the ground. Now, the Mannerheim line, the big thing of the Finns defending the Mannerheim line, they didn't have a lot of ammo. Now, they knew the Soviets were going to come at them with a shit ton of tanks.
Lots of them.
They didn't have anti-tank weapons at this time. I mean, they had pretty much nothing. So they realized that somebody had actually fought the Soviets before. Maybe
In Manchuria.
In Manchuria and the Spanish-American War. And they came up with a pretty good
Wait, not Spanish-American War.
Oh, not Spanish-American War.
No.
The Spanish Civil War.
Spanish Civil War, not Spanish-American War.
Yeah. Now, what it was
I'm sure we'll
is
get that fixed.
The Spanish Civil War, they used it against Soviet tanks rowed by other Spaniards, but the Japanese in Manchuria used it against the Soviets. And what they did was they filled a bottle full of gasoline. And they threw the bottle full of gasoline with a flaming thing on the end of it, and it smashed against the tank, and the flames would get sucked down in the engine. My director will put a picture right here of what happens.
Hombre!
Now, what happens is the flames get sucked in the engine, the tank stops, and then when the tank stops, you're basically a pillbox. You're not moving. If you're not moving, you can be surrounded, you can be annihilated, you can be killed. Now, this was they came up with this weapon. Well, I shouldn't say they came up with it. They modified this weapon to the point that the breweries in Finland
They
came up
codified
with
it.
it.
They basically institutionalized this weapon in the breweries. What was the brewery called?
Alki
Brewery.
Alki Brewery Company.
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, that works out well.
Alki Brewery decided that we're just going to make these by the bajillions.
Caseloads.
And
It's a case of Molotovs. No, that's a sub. They called it the Molotov cocktail.
they were the first ones. That was the thing, is the Finns actually coined the phrase.
Oh, where's my dick? All right. The dicks they called the Molotov breadbasket
Pretty much.
because the Russians said that they were dropping these. They weren't dropping bombs on Helsinki. They were giving
dropping
humanitarian
food.
aid. And so they called this the Molotov breadbasket. But then they said, oh, we have a counter to that. The drink that goes with food.
There's going to be
Molotov
a
cocktail.
picture here. There's going to be a picture here. We're going to show you.
Oh, yeah, well. Now, the Alki, this is a simulation of what got issued to the Finns, where it had railroad matches tied into it, so you didn't have to worry about trying to find a match to strike
Oh,
the
you
light.
already got it. It's right there.
Now, this is what they used to stop the tanks. Now, you gotta figure the Finns, about the closest example I can use of the Finns against the Soviet tanks is think of that whole scene in Star Wars with the little freaking mini Wookiee-looking motherfuckers.
You're talking about Ewoks.
Sure, I'm not the nerd like he is. I just call them mini Wookiee little fuckers. Anyway, all those guys where the things smashing together and jamming, that's what the Finns did.
Pretty much.
They would run out with big fucking poles and shove them into the treads and stop a tank.
Imagine a bunch of white little Finnish guys all wrapped in white
Wookiee
sheets, right, on skis with a bunch of these
And
going after
yeah.
Soviet tanks.
Now, Now the Soviets, their number one tactic, because they thought the Finns couldn't stop them at all.
Goddamn sticky all over my fucking.
Everybody, I know. Yeah, it's like a date on Friday night. Now, check it out. The Soviets,
Fucking
the Finns don't have any anti-tank, so what we're going to do is charge forward with our tanks and smash through their lines and fuck them all up. But what the Soviets didn't realize is anytime you use a tank by itself is not awesome.
Useless.
You have to have infantry to support your tank, otherwise everybody can kill your tank. So when the Soviets would charge forward, what would happen is the Finns would let it pass. And then they would kill the infantry that followed them, and then they'd separate the tanks, and they'd annihilate them with these Molotovs, or with whatever way they could. Alright, now, the Molotov is a thing through a tank. Amazingly enough, there's an actual Molotov drink.
Speaking of Molotovs,
Addie showed up with them.
Yes.
I don't know if that's illegal.
Look at this.
Wait, hang on.
We got 3.
We got 3?
Oh yeah.
Alright, here we go.
Special one.
Light that one on fire. Did it work? Look, it works! It's on fire!
Oh, it's on fire.
It's on fire! Pass
on
that
fire.
Pass that to your newly commissioned son
Woo!
in the US Army and
I'm
shit.
not drinking that shit.
Blow it out.
What?
Blow it out.
No, you blow it out, you don't cover it.
Blow it out.
What's it taste like?
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, we're gonna have our own Molotovs here.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna drink mine. Fuck it. Do we slam it?
Holy shit.
Sure, yeah, do whatever you want.
Okay, slam. This is a lot of slam. Okay.
Prost.
Nostrovia.
Jesus H. Motherfucker.
God damn. Fucking Russians. God. Cabbage eating motherfuckers. Oh, you actually slammed your whole thing. I took like one little sip of like a Molotovs.
No, I didn't. I fucking hammered it back.
I didn't.
Oh.
If you want to learn how to make this drink, check out Food Bomb.
Jesus. I could.
Do it. Do it. Fuck. Take this from me. Take it. Take it away.
So you got something on the raft?
So the first major battle was a battle of Taipei. And the Soviets fired a 40-hour artillery barrage.
World War I era shit.
No shit. I mean, these guys are freaking shooting artillery like freaking ridiculousness artillery. They just shot artillery forever like they thought they were in World War I again, right? Right? So, and then all of a sudden they did what? Charge.
What the Soviets do very well.
Hey,
We're gonna hit that spot up there with every fucking body, everybody charge.
charge.
Now,
Charge.
not
So-
coordinated charge, tanks first, separated from the infantry.
So the machine guns, the Finn machine guns, did not rest. The Finn machine guns
Motivated.
kept going. Those guys were rolling, man.
Cyclic.
The Soviets stacked bodies, and they would freeze.
There's only protection against the Finn bullets.
Because remember, it's now
Yeah.
December. It's fucking cold in Finland in December. So the Soviets would get freaking whacked, and their bodies would freeze, and the Soviets would stack bodies up as fighting positions.
Because they're on the open ground, there's no way to protect themselves. The Finn machine guns are crisscrossing, interfiring. So every dead body, they would just put it up, and because it was so cold, the bodies would freeze solid, and that was the only thing that would stop the Finn bullets from penetrating to hit the.
There were
Soviets.
Finnish machine gunners that reported they fired 40,000 rounds.
Now think about that. 40,000 rounds.
40,000 rounds. First off, I want to meet the machine gun that can fire 40,000 rounds without stopping.
Water-cooled Maxims.
Dude, wow. 40,000 rounds, that is a badass machine gun.
Just water-cooled in a fucking frozen environment. That's
So here's the other thing, is the Soviets are like, hey, yeah, you know, that's not working. We're going to bring a whole nother tank division up.
We bring up a tank division and more artillery, because if our artillery didn't work the first time, let's do it again.
Then we're going to do it all again.
Yep.
And during that 1 hour attack,
Yeah.
1 hour,
1 hour.
one freaking hour,
One fucking hour.
the Soviets lost 1,000 men and 27 tanks.
1,000 men. And
1,000 men and 27 tanks. They lost it in an hour.
every fucking tank.
Right? They couldn't break through. They were done. They couldn't break through.
Yep.
And the Battle of Taipei,
Taipei.
yeah, ended with the Soviets losing about 10,000 men,
Yep.
and the Finns lost a grand total of 2K.
Right.
2,000 dudes.
Now
That is about a one-sided victory as you can freaking stand right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, this is called the Winter War, and because it's the Winter War,
It's freaking cold.
It's cold as shit.
Fucking cold.
Which brings us to our weather girl, Haley, to tell us how cold as shit it was. Haley, take it away.
The weather was extreme during the fighting, which is how the Winter War got its name. On January 16, 1940, the Karelian Isthmus saw temperatures as low as negative 45 degrees. The regular Finnish soldiers looked like civilians because they wore their winter clothes from home to stay warm. Many of the Finns were also on skis and were able to move quickly when needed. They dressed in many layers and wore white snow capes that made them nearly invisible against the terrain. The Soviet tanks stood out in their green paint, and it wasn't until the end of January that they were finally painted white and the Soviet infantry was given white snowsuits to blend in. In the Battle of Suomussalmi, thousands of Soviets died from frostbite and exposure. It's estimated that over 62,000 Soviets suffered from frostbite during the Winter War. The Soviets did not ski, and not many of them knew how, so they had to resort to marching in long columns along the roadways. The only thing the Soviets had going for them was that their tanks were able to move quickly across the swamps, which were frozen at the time. So bundle up and be sure to wear white when you hide. This has been Haley with WFBH. Back to you.
Now, the Mannerheim line is the border between the Soviet Union and Finland, but it's not really the border.
The Mannerheim line, they make it sound like it's like, the big freaking, oh my god, this is like concrete bunkers every fucking 20 meters and it was a fucking ditch.
Yeah, it was. But the other thing is, the Mannerheim line was actually about 25 kilometers in front of the real border.
Yeah.
So there's this space in front of the border. You could call it no man's land. But there's a space, and in that space is nothing but woods with very few roads.
And frozen fucking swamps.
Yeah. Now, the Soviets, as they're going forward, they're pretty much on foot or on tank. And so they're just moving forward on roads. Meanwhile, the Finns have got this organization, this group, this light infantry that was called the Sissy. About the best way to describe the Sissy is kind of like special forces on skis. Now, these guys, what they would do is they're wearing white, they're on skis, they would zoom in, they would have ambushed the shit out of you,
Skis.
and then zoom out before you had time to recover. These guys were fucking ruthless. Double force on skis is how you look at these guys.
They're pretty badass.
Now, another thing,
Slaughtered,
which I thought was really impressive, is this is something you don't really read about in a lot of history, is World War II is a war where a lot of armies are experimenting with drugs. Thinking, how do we keep you awake? How do you keep you active? How do you keep you...
The Germans were experimenting with methamphetamine.
Oh, yeah. Keep you awake. And, all these drugs.
Yeah.
Well, the Finns realized if you give your guys heroin, they will actually be more active longer. So the Finns are getting, I think it's, I'm looking down there at the bottom, I think like 5 milligrams of heroin whenever they need it. And so they're doing heroin, and they're able to keep up, do their ski, hit the Soviets, get out again, because they're cruising, chasing the White Dragon.
Hell yeah!
Now here's something amazing, and it kind of says something to the Finnish mindset. There isn't a lot of accounts of drug overdoses or people being strung out on heroin.
Nope.
No, it's like, we have this problem, we are going to fight Soviets, we'll take heroin, but when we're done, we won't take heroin anymore. And it works out.
Pretty freaking bizarre.
Now,
hey, the doc gave me this on my platoon. It's okay, right?
yeah, no shit. No. Now, the Finns, they actually called, because they got to realize the Soviets are spread out. And they're spread out in small, disorganized groups if you get off the road. Now, if you get off, mainly the Sissy would come in and hit you on the road, and you'd spread because you're scared, and now you're off on your own.
Well, the problem
in small groups of freaking Soviets.
The snow's like 3 and 4 feet deep at this point.
Yeah.
All they could stay on was the road. All they had was a road. That was it. And so now imagine a bunch of little Finns coming on skis and everything else, like a bunch of goddamn pissed off freaking hornets that you just kicked over their freaking
Murder hornets.
Murder hornets, just like that guy. Anyway, imagine that, and these guys are pissed the hell off. and the Soviets can't freaking get off the road.
Now,
No, by the way, they don't have the clothing to freaking do that. They
No.
don't have the equipment to do it.
your typical Finn is wearing mainly winter clothing. He's not really in a uniform because he's wearing the over-white on top. He's wearing the white clothes, but he's wearing this winter stuff from home.
Hey, bro,
We're talking
this is
about
from
thick
the house.
wool sweaters,
This is
socks,
how he freaking lived
and everything
at home.
else. Yeah, they're used to this.
You wore this shit at
Now,
home.
the Finns, they actually had a nickname for the small little groups of the Soviets that were stuck in the woods that were trying to run away and survive.
Yeah.
And they called these guys the Mati. And Mati is the Finnish word for firewood. In other words, you stack them, you light them, you destroy them.
And you walk
And
away.
so they would come in with their ski troops and their Mati, and it's coming with ski troops, and they surround them, and they cut them off and chew them up. Now, wait, it gets better. They also had this weird air freaking, what's those things in Florida called? You zip around in the swamps?
God,
Airboats?
they had this airboat thing,
But
right?
it's on skis.
It's on skis, but it's got a propeller on it like an airplane.
Aerosani.
And they're like, freaking
Now-
driving around on these freaking ski things
With a machine
that have armor on them with a freaking propeller on the back. That's so
And a
badass.
machine gun in the front.
That's so badass. Here's a picture of it right here.
Right here.
You're gonna see the picture.
Awesome.
It's right here.
Now-
because it's so awesome.
Now, the Aerosani was originally used by the Russians, amazing enough, in Siberia for transporting medical first aid shit to people in Siberia.
Yeah.
But the Finns figured out, hey, we can strap a gun on this and we can kill a lot of
You can put it
Russians.
like a machine gun.
No shit.
That'd be badass.
Now, the Soviets had three choices. One, you could stay and fight, but if you stayed and fight, you're probably going to get slaughtered by the Finns.
Pretty much.
Number two, you could try to run away, but if you ran away, the Soviet commissars, the political officers, would kill you because you can't run away.
But the Soviet commissars told all the freaking Soviet soldiers that the Finns were gonna freaking torture you and eat you.
Yeah, they torture you to death, so if you surrender, you're going to die anyway.
You're gonna fucking die.
So the third choice is that you just run away on your own. But if you run away on your own, you're now in minus 40 degree weather,
45 degree weather.
and you're going to die.
You're gonna
By the
freeze.
way, my director will put a picture right here of a bunch of Soviets sitting in a foxhole frozen to death because they were trying to hide. Also, part of the Finnish resupply system is they didn't have trucks. And obviously, if you put a cow out in negative 45 degree weather, he's going to freeze to death. So one of the more interesting things they did was they used reindeer to resupply their troops. They would put sleds on reindeers and ski forward with reindeers.
Okay, that's freaking really cool. If you think about it. That's like super freaking cool.
That's like Santa Claus shit.
Well, see, but once the Soviets figured out the Mannerheim line, with this, the sissy wasn't able to really work.
Well, no. Well, once the Russians reached the Mannerheim line, the sissies are out of a job.
They really can't
Because-
the lines have stabilized.
Oh, yeah, just a little personal interest. All right, I was in a war one time where I was working behind enemy lines, and we did a lot of shit behind enemy lines. But eventually, the regular army caught up, and when
Pretty
the regular
much.
army catches up, you can't do behind the line shit anymore, and you got to go do it with something else. So the sissy was really effective until they caught up to the regular lines, and then they got to back off.
So once they caught up, once the Soviets caught up with the Mannerheim line, there was a bunker, like a big, massive, huge ass bunker, about one every kilometer or so.
Yeah, every
that
1,000 yards or so.
They had to worry about, right? But the Soviets found a weak spot, and when they found a weak spot, they freaking slammed a freaking tank division through it in about December freaking 19th.
Yeah,
Right? So they slam a freaking, again, it's December. It's fucking
chilly,
cold.
regular
It's a
chilly.
little chilly. All right?
Never knew
The
that.
Finns, so here's what the Finns did.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Finns did the normal thing what they've been doing the whole time. They let the tanks go ahead and go through.
Zoop.
They let the tanks go through. Don't worry about tanks. It's okay. We're gonna fuck with the infantry
Yeah.
because the tanks we're not worried about. Because once they get past us, whatever. All you tankers out there, I don't give a shit. All you tankers think your freaking little land-based battleship is a badass. No. As soon as your infantry goes away, you're useless to me.
Yeah, you're
useless.
You're just
right.
you're a sacrificial lamb.
So once they let the friggin' let the tanks go by, they whacked all the artillery, all the
Infantry.
infantry. Thank you.
Machine guns.
They whacked all the freaking infantry, and then they freaking went back and they were like, hey, let's go ahead and fix
In
all
fact,
this tank shit.
My director will put a picture right here of a lone tank
By
caught
itself.
behind lines that before
All by
the
itself.
Finns killed this tank, they took pictures
They
of
took a picture of it.
They're like, look,
They're like,
yeah,
look,
we're
it's
gonna kill
a
this tank.
tank by itself. We're fixing to kill the shit out of this.
Molotov.
Next time on F-Bomb History.
Ho ho ho!
So it's Christmas cookies from Finland.
So these are finished.
The centers are red like the blood of the Soviet.
Oh my God, these are hitting.
Came home last night, all full of lush. My babe began to fuss, and I said, honey, honey, I don't care what the people are thinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just drinking. I set 'em up, another round. I set 'em up, another round. I set 'em up, another round. Oh, one more.